All right, I'm gonna call the November meeting or October meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Yes, Carroll's absent, Manning is absent, Cosgrove. Here. Severson is absent, Williamson.
Here.
Cooey.
Here.
McGuire is absent. To make a quorum, we do have Dave Turk online, so Dave, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you have four, you have one.
Thanks, Dave, for jumping on.
Sure.
All right, so verification of open meetings.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting.
Karen. All right, the agenda looks like we got a 11-point agenda. Can I get a motion approved? Chad, motion. Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, being minutes from September 3rd or 11th. Any questions about the minutes? If not, I will approve them as published. Public comment. Got anybody on for public comment? Doesn't look like. Reports. Here we go.
Okay, I have nothing really new on the financial aspect to see where we're currently sitting, because several weeks ago, we just received our closing entries from 2024, so we're working on reconciling with current year. Hopefully by next meeting, I'll have more of an accurate depiction of where we're at to show. Otherwise, the monthly bills was a total of $389,297.39. Larger ticket items on there was from Farner Asphalt, that was a seal coating oil. Mid-States for $17,000, that's the mastic for the state projects. We had a larger expense on one of our excavators that broke a wiring harness and some pins on the bucket attachment. And then Bendel Bauer and for $17,000, that was for culvert installations, material for backfill of several of the projects being on township roads. And then the $61,000 on the County Road O project, which is part of our construction cost share. Speaking of County Road O, we're moving into paving operations as expected, end of next week, Thursday or Friday. Right now they're working on doing the prep grade for the road surface. All curb and gutter has been done. They're backfilling behind it, seed and mulch. County projects are including mowing, ditching, and then we're currently prepping to redo the retaining wall on County Road E by the cemetery. We're hauling in block. We're averaging about 1 to 2 truckloads a day, depending on what time allows. State roads, we've been working on sealing, utilizing mastic and crack filling. And then we're prepping for an auction that we're hoping to get going by the end of October. The equipment that we're going to be moving down the road is going to be the D8 dozer, smaller baby dump truck, which was a blown engine, which we replaced it with a newer truck earlier this year. 1 tri-axle dump truck, 2 tandem axle dump trucks, stump grinder, sandblaster, pretty much all of our poly tubes from inventory, the old brine maker scale house, and the trucks do include all the snow equipment that's associated with them. That's what I have for an update, Mr. Chair.
Any questions about that? Eric? Looks like we're going to the radio tower project.
So the civil work continues at the Yuba site. The retaining wall has been finished and they are working on the building right now. They're hoping that the tower will be shipped the week of October 22nd so they could start putting that up. As far as the electrical or the radio components of it all, there is a delay in the production of the microwaves. They are supposed to be shipped by October 20th. The original hope was that they would be here by October 20th. So that is slowing things down, but they are still planning for crossover on December 15th. They're still having struggles with finalizing the final 2 frequencies, and we have sent correspondence to the emergency responder agency so they can get us their listing so we can work to get them their reprogramming funds.
Ten-year capital improvement plan.
So this is the plan that was completed by Clint. This is the plan that was completed by Clint, and it is in the committee folder, admin docs, reference documents, public works. I put it in that folder that we created and I forgot to share that with anybody, so it is out there. This is the big one that he completed and worked on. One of the asks was that we make a list of what's been completed and what has not been completed. I did not address non-facility items, so there were items about squads, plow trucks, MIS has 2 or 3 different pages in there of information, and really just looked at the facilities. So this is the information out of there, what we've completed, what we have yet to complete. I believe that one of the things that we wanted to talk about was out of the yet to be completed, do we still want to do these or do we want to hold off on them?
I would say we need to, we gotta get more committee members here to be involved.
Yes.
This is hard, you know what I mean, to go down this list. I would say if there's anything to do with what's on this list, if Randy and you can, you know, what's the top 5?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just to kind of have an idea of what.
Well, that's, I mean, speaking out loud here, you know, if we don't even know what we're gonna do here, but if we're gonna spend $150,000 on locks and keys on a building that we might only be in for, yeah, I don't know.
May
Yeah.
speak. Going through this, like I helped Trish go through some of the stuff that was on Parks, and what I did notice, like what Clint had put together, a lot of it was wish list items that were not actually identified for any type of funding, that were just like, if you wanted to do it, what would you do? I think it's gonna take some more time for Trish to work with Randy, even myself, to refine actually what is important and what is not on that list, because that list was treated as, looked like gospel, and what I saw, that it was a lot of like make-believe, didn't need to be done, such as like the dump stations at the fairgrounds. It's on the list, but yet there's no reason we should be working on a project like that. So it's
There's 2 elevators in this, 2 additional elevators in this building that are on the
Right.
list. But I think we also need to determine before we really start digging into this is there a plan to stay here a minimum of 20 years? And if so, then there does make sense to start prioritizing. But if we're going to build something in less than that, I think we have to
Well,
be mindful of our money. Some things we have to do.
I would agree. I mean, some things can. Whether you have a plan to be here, whatever the number is, some things have to be done anyways. Yeah, I mean, you have to do certain things just to keep an operation, and that's what we need to come up with. This was something to start with, is what it was. And I think we just need to go from there and say, okay, what are we gonna do here? Because we got multiple buildings that need work, and there's multiple things up in the air at the same time. You know, the ambulance, we don't know what the ambulance is gonna turn into. That's another thing that, you know, it's on here to redo that roof, but where are we gonna be at in a year from now? We don't know that. We don't have that answer.
And those assessments, you know, Venture did Pine Valley, Simons, and the ambulance building. I just got the ambulance today, and he said the other 2 should be coming soon, so
So that's
share those.
that's gonna help us too,
Yeah.
because that's gonna, it's gonna move stuff to the top.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, if we should have where they wanna come present that to like us, like in a daytime meeting maybe even, or something. I don't know, we gotta figure out a way to get these guys here. But, cause if we're truly gonna take charge of 10-year plan for this county, and can't be 3 and Dave and
That's what I
Trish.
mean. Everybody's gotta be here to
Yeah.
go forward. And when you start talking at that level, you know, the full county board needs to be involved with that.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have Venture come in or something, then we need to have the full county board listen to that.
That way, they don't have to do it twice.
Yeah, there's no reason to do that twice.
I don't think we have
Mr.
to
Chair.
full blown.
Go ahead, Dave.
This is probably good timing to have in combination with our budget discussions for next year, because what we do moving forward in 10 years will have a lot to do with the direction we set in next year's budgeting too.
Agreed. But at least we can get it out. At least we got something to look at, where we really didn't, I mean, we had an idea. I think the venture thing is something that's gotta get done, you know, within the next couple months. And that's probably a county board thing, is what I would say.
Yeah.
That when they're complete, we need to do that with full county board. And then we can take from the county board back to this committee and say, okay, what do we want to do here? Because you got 21 people on this board, we need to be using everybody. This is pretty much our borrowing and everything else for the next year, and everybody wants to be on board. All right.
Mr. Chair, if I could speak again, I think we also want to be conscious of, we need to make some decisions too. It's bounced now from campus reconfig to this committee. If we send it to county board and they send it back again and say, well, we're not sure either, what are some recommendations? I don't want us to get lost in a cycle of just bouncing it back and forth either.
Agreed. I mean, we can set a timetable on what we need to have done by, right? But we still got to have the information first.
Yeah.
And I think everybody needs to see that information versus just us. Because as you can see, nobody shows up to this meeting, so you need to make sure everybody's here.
The
All right.
2026-2028 capital improvement plan is also in the administrative documents in the folder under CIP.
Okay.
So that's out there too.
All right. Pine Valley Community Village, water.
So Brittany's unable to be here tonight, so between Josh and I, we'll try to fill you in. They had some issues where they found chloroform and E. coli in their water. They had to stop using their water for anything. I know that Schreiber provided them some water, which was very helpful to them. Eventually, they were able to shock their system, bleach it, and they now have clean water samples. They had 3 clean water samples. I know they're still trying to do some stuff to figure out how did this happen. I know there was a question that was made to me about what kind of fecal matter was in there. Was it human or animal? When I spoke with Brittany yesterday, that's not something they tested for. They didn't, from my perspective, it's more about how do we make sure this doesn't happen again versus how, where did it come from? And so I know there's more going on, that she's working on with that.
They're making sure everything is secured as it can be, and as long as everything still keeps testing good, DNR says you're okay. Otherwise, you hit it all.
So do they have to check, do you run a borescope up them lines to see what's going on or what's?
It's different levels that they do. Normally, they would just take water samples right from the spigot, you send those off and have them tested. And it really becomes down to, if it's an ongoing problem, it'll be a step-by-step at that point. Boring, using a borescope or something to look, it's like a farther down step, like a really critical thing, but typically it's just trying to get it tested clean.
Yeah, understood. So was it tested from the well is where the problem is, or?
The reservoir.
The reservoir is where the problem is. So
Yep, they said
it's either
that
on the way to it or at the reservoir itself.
they said it's more localized towards the buildings, closer to the buildings. They thought maybe some of the construction vibration, spreading out in the fields maybe had something to do with that. We can't pinpoint, we can't point blame at farmers or anything of that nature. They just think it was somewhere closer to the buildings that got in. But then there was something in the reservoir that they weren't quite sure what it was, which made them boost up their security efforts and locks. So.
Yeah, I was just wondering, with all the vibration on the hole out there.
Well, that's the question, you know what I mean? That's why I asked the borescope
Well,
question, because you got lines going up and back.
Sounds like she was gonna check into the price last I talked to her.
She is planning to come to executive and finance next week and give an update.
I mean, how far is it to the reservoir?
It's a very long ways up behind the building. So if you're standing in the back of Pine Valley where the garage space is at and you look, it's way up on the hill past that. You got to cross quite a bit of open field access to even get there, and probably 2,000 plus feet.
I've got the map of the truck yet, I'll show you when we're done with it. Yeah, it's
Yes.
up and back,
Half
yeah.
a mile, 3/4 of a mile or something.
And because we talked about that,
Yeah, when we were talking about the other side.
replacing it or go to the city water, which, yeah.
All right, well, at least they're doing everything they can to us. All right, discussion possible action prioritizing future utilization of county facilities.
That's really just a duplicate of the 10-year plan. So
Future agenda items.
we can come back with all of this.
I would say it's the 10 years. tenure for sure. You know,
How to motivate committee member attendance?
Yeah, well, I guess we can we can have a phone on it.
Well, if that needs to come from the board chair, let me know.
Well, I'll try my luck first, Dave, and we'll see what happens, but it's getting a little bit frustrating. I mean, in
I
all
can
honesty,
understand.
the building thing wouldn't have came. We were talking going to quarterly meetings just because
Mm-hmm.
one, we were having a hard time with showing up, and the second part is a lot of this stuff is, you can read it deep and all that. But at any rate,
Probably pretty much everything that's on there,
I would say it's just gonna be,
on the report.
it's gonna be the same as next month.
We will have Trish will have that discussion, possible action on road reclassification
Yeah.
for County Road Q.
All right. Correspondence, I assume none. Motion to adjourn.
Move.
Steve, second by Chad, all in favor, right?
Hi.
Thanks again, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Go
See
back
you
to
later.
Back to happy hour.